Now, would you like to learn how to protect yourself and your business from computer criminals? Well, if you answer yes to that, you're in the right place. The next presentation will take you into the world of computer hackers. Our speaker, Ankit Fadia, is an independent computer security and digital intelligence consultant with definitive experience in the field of internet security. Still in his early 20s, he has authored 11 internationally best-selling books on topics related to computer security and is also a widely recognized computer security guru and cyber terrorism expert. Please welcome Ankit Fadia.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to start by asking all of you certain questions that will make you realize how dangerous or how less private the internet has made our lives. How many of you have got email accounts with Hotmail, Yahoo, Gmail or AOL? Can I see hands, please? Stop using them. Hotmail, Yahoo, Gmail and AOL put together probably has a few billion users across the globe. But did you know that each and every email being sent or received by all those billions of users is actually being scanned for certain keywords? In other words, if you were to send an email with the keywords, kill Obama, immediately you're blacklisted, a background check is done on you, and if any links between you and any terrorist organization is found, then obviously you're caught. Otherwise, you're let go free. How many of you use Google.com, the best search engine on the internet? Can I see hands, please? Stop using it. Now, Google is actually known to keep a track of each and every user's searching habits on the internet. In other words, each time you connect to Google.com, whatever search terms you type onto Google.com, they're actually getting recorded in a permanent database and being stored along with your name, or at least along with something known as the IP address of your computer. How many of you use antivirus software like Symantec, Norton, McAfee or F-Secure? Can I see hands, please? Stop using them. In the underground community, it's a widely accepted fact that the antivirus companies are themselves creating viruses, releasing them on the internet, infecting all your systems, and then selling you a countermeasure. How many of you use Microsoft Windows XP, Vista, or Windows 7? Stop using them. If you remember, each time an error takes place on any kind of Microsoft Windows operating system, there's going to be a small pop-up dialog box that will ask you whether you wish to report that error message to Microsoft or not. Now, if you decide to not report that error message, then things are fine. But for some reason, if you choose to report that error message to Microsoft, then along with that error message, a complete list of hardware and software installed on a computer gets transferred to Microsoft. One last question before I start with the presentation today. How many of you use the internet? Stop using it. Because this kind of brings me back to what I said earlier. No matter what you do online, no matter what you use the internet for, every single move of yours is being watched, is being recorded, is being logged on some server or the other. Now, obviously, it is not possible for anyone in this audience to stop using the internet. That is where your understanding, your knowledge, your experience regarding the most common tools, techniques and methods that are already known to the computer criminals really comes into the picture. If everybody who uses the internet understood the risk involved, then the internet would be a much safer place to be in. So what I like to do today is, I like to take all of you into the minds of the criminal. I'm going to talk like a criminal, I'm going to act like a criminal, and most of the things that we're going to see today are going to be extremely illegal. But do not get alarmed. I'm not trying to turn all of you into cyber criminals, but the whole idea is, unless and until you understand how cyber criminals work, there's absolutely no way you can protect yourself against the same criminals. So on that note, I'd like to go ahead and start with my event today. The format of today's session is of course going to be PowerPoint slides. However, a majority portion of my session is going to be live hacking demonstrations. And for some of these demonstrations, I'd also like all of you to get involved and participate in those demonstrations. So on that note, let me go ahead and start with by sharing with all of you a couple of real-life examples of case studies of some of the most shocking cyber crimes that have taken place in different parts of the world in the last few years. The first example is from Mumbai. This happened maybe 4 or 5 years ago. There was a lady in Mumbai who lived in a typical Mumbai apartment, which is a one-room apartment. And that lady was really obsessed with the latest technological gadgets. So she used to buy herself a scanner, a web camera, a 3D surround sound system, the latest processor, a broadband internet connection, and so on. And this lady also had this habit of chatting on the internet for several hours together every single evening. Now, one evening, when the lady was chatting on the internet, the person with whom she was chatting managed to hack into the lady's computer. And after hacking into the lady's computer, the criminal managed to install a spying software called a Trojan on the lady's computer. And after installing the Trojan on the lady's computer, the criminal, probably sitting in some other part of the world, remotely, secretly managed to use that Trojan to switch the lady's web camera on. And from that point of time, whatever happened in the lady's apartment, which I like to remind you was a one-room apartment in Mumbai, was actually being broadcasted live on the internet 24 hours a day. And the lady had absolutely no knowledge that something so terrible was happening to her. Life continued normally for a few weeks, after which the lady went for a job interview. And at that job interview, the person who was interviewing the lady, the person sitting across the desk from the lady, he immediately said, "Oh, I'll definitely give you the job. I see you every day on that pornography website. Why would I refuse?" And that's the time the lady realized that, wait a minute, something seems to be wrong. She rushed back home, disconnected the computer from the internet, complained to the police, investigations were carried out, but unfortunately, the criminal was never caught. And in the meantime, the lady probably never wanted to use the internet again. Now, if that case study did not scare all of you enough, I have another case study for everybody, this time from the government sector. I'm sure all of you heard about NASA, the premier space research agency of the US. Now, a few years back, NASA successfully completed a spaceship launch. And a few weeks after the successful completion of the launch, what the NASA officials realized was that a criminal who was later found out to be an 11-year-old boy from Russia. I'll repeat, the criminal was an 11-year-old boy from Russia. That 11-year-old, sitting in his bedroom or living room in Russia, managed to hack into the NASA network. He soon took complete control of the NASA network and then misused that control to change the direction of a spaceship in space. So by the time the NASA officials realized as to what is going on, they've already lost thousands of dollars as far as space fuel is concerned. So clearly, internet security is a problem that affects absolutely everybody. And I'm very sure that at this point of time, all of you in this audience are probably wondering whether it's really possible to use the internet to switch somebody else's web camera on or to change the direction of a spaceship in space. Unfortunately or fortunately, the answers to both these questions is a big yes. In fact, this brings me to the first live hacking demonstration of the day, which shows you how all of you can go back home today and start using a Trojan and start controlling all your competitors' computers and all your neighbors' computers as well. So what exactly is a Trojan and what makes a Trojan so dangerous? Now, Trojans are basically remote administration tools, or RATs. And if I'm a criminal, if I'm able to install a Trojan on your computer, I could be sitting in any part of the world and I can remotely control or remotely access your computer. So let me now give the demonstration of one of the most popular Trojans called NetBus. NetBus is available as a free download on the internet. Absolutely anybody with internet access can download NetBus onto their computer and start using NetBus to start controlling the victim's computer. So let me quickly open up NetBus on my computer. Now this is what NetBus looks like. And the way it works is, in this space provided, you gotta type something known as the IP address of the victim. Obvious question here is, how can you find out your competitor or your neighbor's IP address? Now, after today's presentation, if you send me an email, I'll be happy to send you a step-by-step tutorial that shows you how you can find out somebody else's IP address. So right now, let us assume that you already have the victim's IP address and you type it into the space provided and simply click on the connect button. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to connect to my own computer. I've infected my own laptop with a Trojan and I click on connect, and within a few seconds it says connected to the victim's computer. So now that you have connected to the victim's computer, by sitting in any part of the world, you can start using all these different buttons or options to remotely do things or remotely control the victim's computer. The first option is a very interesting option known as the Open CD-ROM option that allows you as a criminal to remotely open and close the victim's CD tray. Imagine that the victim is quietly sitting and doing something on his computer, and by just clicking on the Open CD-ROM button, you can open the victim's CD tray and close it whenever you wish to do so. Next comes another very interesting option. It's an option known as the Swap Mouse button. As soon as you click on the Swap Mouse button, what happens is, on the victim's computer, left click will become right click and right click will become left click. There is a message manager option available as well, using which it is possible for you as a criminal to display pop-up text messages of your choice on the victim's computer screen. So all I'm going to do is click on message manager, and in this space provided, I'm going to type a message like, I am watching you. And I click on send message, and if all of you look at the screen within a few seconds, the same message gets popped up on the victim's computer screen, and of course the victim will have no clue as to how or why these messages are suddenly getting displayed on his or her computer screen. Now let's quickly move on to a little bit more serious stuff. How many of you in this audience would like to have a live video feed of your competitor's computer screen? I'm sure a lot of people are interested in that. The next option gives you exactly that. There's an option known as the screen dump option. As soon as you click on screen dump, what will happen is the Trojan will take a photograph of the victim's computer screen, which can be your competitor's computer screen, and will display it on your computer screen. So you can see exactly whatever your competitor is currently seeing or doing on his or her computer, including emails, sensitive documents, chat conversations, bank account information, and absolutely anything else that gets displayed on the victim's computer screen. Next comes a send text option. Imagine a scenario wherein your competitor or your victim is typing an important email that has to be sent out to all their customers, clients, investors, partners, and the media globally. And what if you as a criminal for some reason wanted to add your own sentences or text to that email? So all you got to do is click on send text, and in this space provided, you got to type in absolutely anything that comes to your mind. You don't need to censor what you're typing. As soon as you click on OK, whatever you just typed into this dialog box will actually become a part of the email, chat conversation, or browser window that the victim was currently working on at that given point of time. So you just got to be creative, and you can actually cause a lot of damage to the victim using the send text option. Now at this stage, before I continue, I'd like to take out a couple of minutes to invite a brave volunteer up on stage. So can we have the volunteer up on stage, please? A round of applause for the volunteer. How are you?
Well,
So what kind of email account do you have?
a Gmail account.
Alright, so a brave volunteer has a Gmail account, and what I've done over here is I've just opened up the Gmail login screen in my browser, and I'm going to request a volunteer to go ahead and log into his Gmail email account.
Where's your at?
Now this demonstration does not always work, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and let's hope for the best. So a volunteer just typed in his username, he typed in his password, and I'm going to now request him to log into his Gmail account. So let's wait for his account to get logged in, and at this stage, for some reason, what if you wanted to find out what his password is? Now, every Trojan has something known as the listen option. And that listen option allows you as a criminal to find out all the keys that were being pressed on the victim's computer. So I'm just going to wait for the results to show up on the screen, and hopefully we can find out our brave volunteers' username and password. And just so that all of you know, this works across continents, across countries. You could be in any part of the world, and you could use this demonstration to try and find out what the victim's password is. So if all of you look at the screen, our volunteer's username has gotten displayed, and his password has also gotten displayed, which is Bridget170196. Is that your correct password?
That's correct.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, the whole point of this demonstration is once a Trojan gets installed on your computer, the criminal can be sitting in any part of the world and can find out all the keys that you're typing on your computer, including your usernames and passwords, credit card numbers, bank account information, emails, documents, chat. Absolutely anything that you type gets recorded. Next comes a very scary option. How many of you in this audience have a microphone or a web camera on your computer? Can I see hands, please? All right, so the next option is going to really scare all of you. There's an option known as the sound system option. As soon as you click on the sound system option, what is going to happen is you as a criminal can actually start recording all audio and video coming from the victim's rooms. So if you have a microphone or a web camera on your computer, somebody could be watching you on the internet. Finally, of course, there is a file manager using which you can download files, upload files, delete files, and pretty much do absolutely anything else that you wish to do on the victim's computer. So as you can clearly see, Trojans are extremely dangerous tools, and I'm sure that some of you in this audience are probably wondering to yourself that, hey, I have the best antivirus, it's not going to affect me. In reality, there are a lot of Trojans that are not even detected by the most updated antiviruses available on the internet. And some of those Trojans, I like to quickly share the names with all of you. First of all, you have a Trojan called Lost Door, which is available as a free download on the internet, which is not even detected by any antivirus software as we speak. You have Nuclear Rat, which is another very popular Trojan that is not detectable. And finally, you have Poison Ivy. All these Trojans are available as a free download on the internet. I'd like to quickly move on to the next demonstration of the day, which is of another very interesting technique known as email spoofing. Email spoofing, like the name suggests, is basically the art of being able to send a fake or spoofed email that looks like a real email from somebody else's email account without knowing the password. If I were a criminal, if I were your competitor, I could send a fake or spoofed email from your email account to all your customers, to your team members, to your clients, investors, partners, and the media worldwide, and the email will look very real, very authentic. And if you want to send out a spoofed email, all you got to do is start your browser and simply connect to one of my favorite websites, which is anonymizer.in/fake-mailer. It's a freely available website. Absolutely anybody can access it. It's anonymizer.in/fake-mailer. Now, once you connect to this website, this is what you'll see on the screen. I'm just going to quickly open it up. There's going to be an online form, and email spoofing is as simple as filling up this online form. And for today's demonstration, I would like to send a fake or spoofed email from billgates@microsoft.com to a friend of mine, offering my friend a job with Bill Gates at Microsoft. So if I want to do that, all I got to do is fill up this online form. The first field is the sender's email address. So I'm going to type billgates@microsoft.com. The second field is going to be the recipient's email address. So I'm going to type my friend's email address over here, peter@stanford.edu. The subject of the email is, of course, going to be job proposal. And finally, in this space provided, you can type absolutely any body or message of your choice. So I'm going to type something like, Dear Peter, heard a lot about you from my representatives at MDRT Bangkok. Would you like to work as part of my personal technical advisory team? Of course, a 7-figure US dollar salary will be offered to you Please call me at your convenience on my cell phone. That's not the real number, stop copying it down. Thanks a ton. Warm regards, Bill. And when you're ready to send the email, all you got to do is copy these characters down, click on send, and a few minutes later, when my friend checks his inbox, he would probably have received an email from Bill Gates at Microsoft.com offering him a job with Bill Gates at Microsoft. The best part is the email will look very real, very authentic, and the absolutely best part is when my friend replies to the email, the reply will obviously go back to Bill Gates at Microsoft.com. So email spoofing is very easy to execute. At the same time, it can be extremely dangerous as well. But let's take it to the next level. What is better than email spoofing? There's a very interesting technique known as SMS spoofing. SMS spoofing is the art of being able to send a fake or spoofed SMS from somebody else's mobile number. And the recipient of that message will actually think that somebody else has sent that message to them. So all you got to do is, there's another very interesting website called spranked.com. You start your browser and simply connect to spranked.com, and there's going to be an online form that you got to fill out. Type in the from number, type in the to country and the to number, type in the actual message that you want to send out, click on submit, and a few minutes later, you would be able to send a spoofed SMS from absolutely any mobile phone number of your choice. Unfortunately, this website is not free. It's going to cost you around $2 per fake SMS that you wish to send out using this particular website. I'll quickly move on to the next demonstration. How many of you in this audience have at some point of time in your life wanted to spy upon somebody else's cell phone? Can I see hands, please? I'm sure a lot of people are interested in that. So the next demonstration allows you to do exactly that. There are three very popular software. We have SpyPhone Gold, Mobile Spy, and Flexi Spy. These software are available on the internet. All you got to do is, you need physical access to the victim's computer. Once you have physical access to the victim's computer, it's going to take you less than a minute to install any of these applications on the victim's phone. And once you've installed the application on the victim's phone, from any computer in any part of the world, you can log on to their respective websites, and you can actually spy upon the victim's phone. So if the victim's phone is GPS enabled, on a Google map, you can see the exact latitude and longitude of the location of the victim at any given point of time. If the victim takes a picture or a video using their phone, you could actually get a copy of it on this website. If the victim sends or receives an SMS or makes a phone call, you get all those details on this website. Once again, unfortunately, these websites are not free. It's going to cost you around $100 for a 3-month period of spying on absolutely any cell phone of your choice. Moving on to the next demonstration. How many of you in this audience would like to know of a technique that allows you to crack absolutely all kinds of passwords on the internet? Alright, so a lot of companies actually use passwords to protect files and documents, and most people think that the password protected files and documents are safe and secure, but in reality that is not at all true. There's a very interesting website called lostpassword.com. If you connect to lostpassword.com, this is what you'll see on the screen. From this website, you can download an application that allows you to crack absolutely all kinds of passwords on the internet. And it takes anywhere between a few seconds to maybe 5 or 6 hours to crack absolutely any kind of file or document that is password protected, which includes PDF files, zip files, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. Think of any kind of file that can be password protected. That password can be cracked using lostpassword.com. Now, another type of password that can be cracked is, if you remember, whenever you try to log into any of your online accounts, your browser will ask you whether you wish to save or remember your password. Now, let's be honest here. How many of you in this audience choose to save or remember your passwords? Can I see hands, please? Alright, so after the next demonstration, you'll probably never want to save or remember your passwords at all. Imagine that I am your colleague or I'm your neighbor, and I have physical access to your computer. Maybe there's a party at your house and I say that, hey, can I borrow your computer? Or I want to check my email. And once I'm on your computer, if I have maybe 1 or 2 minutes alone with your computer, I can recover all the saved passwords from your computer. All I got to do is start your browser. So I've just opened up Firefox Mozilla. I got to click on Tools, Options, Security, and there's a button which says Saved Passwords. I click on that button, and all the websites and all the usernames whose passwords have been saved on that computer get displayed on the screen. If you notice, the actual passwords are not getting displayed. So now all I need to do is click on the button which says Show Passwords. When I click on Show Passwords, even then the passwords are not getting displayed. The browser will now ask the criminal, are you sure that you want to see the password? Obviously the criminal is going to click on yes, and within a few seconds all the saved passwords get displayed on the screen in plain text. So you would imagine that your browser is doing a better job of securely saving your passwords, but in reality there's no security at all. So do not ever save your passwords, no matter which browser you might be using. I'll quickly move on to the next demonstration. How many of you, when you travel, when you stay in hotels, how many of you use the Wi-Fi or the internet access in the hotel rooms? Can I see hands? Alright, so after the next demonstration, you'll probably never want to use the Wi-Fi at the airport or the internet access in the hotel rooms. Imagine the following scenario. Imagine that you're traveling to New York, you're staying in a particular hotel, I'm staying in the same hotel, you are in the privacy and the security of your hotel room, and you access your bank account or your email account using the internet access in the hotel room. And you think that you're safe. But in reality, if I'm in the same hotel as you, technically you and I are going to be on the same public shared network. So sitting in my room, I can spy upon what you're doing on your computer in your hotel room. And there's a very interesting software called Wireshark, and Wireshark is available as a free download on the internet. Once you download Wireshark, you can spy upon what other people on the same network are currently doing. So if you notice right now, I'm connected to the Wi-Fi at this conference venue, and I'm not doing anything on my computer. But once I open up Wireshark, you will be able to see what other people who are on the same Wi-Fi are currently doing on their computer. So this is what Wireshark looks like. I'm going to click on Start, and if all of you look at the screen, suddenly it's able to record all these data packets that are being sent or received by other computers on the same Wi-Fi network. I'm not doing anything on my computer. But people who are visiting websites, I can find out what websites they're visiting, and if there's not much security that is being used, I can even find out what their passwords are. So you got to be extremely careful what you do on a public network like a hotel or the Wi-Fi at the airport. And of course, Wireshark is available as a free download on the internet. Now the next demonstration happens to be a real-life cybercrime investigation case that I've personally been involved in. After the September 11th attacks, the US government intercepted a few encrypted emails that were sent by the Al-Qaeda terrorist network or Osama bin Laden's men. So you can imagine how important those emails were. But the problem was, when the government opened those emails, the only thing that they saw was photographs like these. Photographs of popular actors, actresses, celebrities, political figures, sports personnel, and so on. So all the emails were completely blank, completely empty, but all the emails contained photographs like these attached to them. And this happened way back in 2001, and the US government wasn't really sure as to what is going on. So they contacted a bunch of different consultants to try and get some help. Even I got contacted, and to be very honest, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I had absolutely no idea as to what is going on. But somewhere in the middle of the 4th week, what we soon realized was that this is a classic example of a very interesting technique known as steganography. Steganography is basically the art of taking a message or a file and hiding that inside a photograph, audio file, or video file. In other words, when all of you look at this photograph, it looks quite innocent. But in reality, behind this picture, there's some important file or message that has been hidden or that has been embedded. So let me now give a demonstration to all of you that shows you as to how all of you can go back home today, take all the sensitive documents that you have and start hiding them inside photographs, audio files, or video files. Name of the software that is available as a free download on the internet is a software called S-Tools. And the way this works is, I'm just going to quickly open up S-Tools on my computer. Imagine for a moment that I am a terrorist and I'm planning a major terrorist attack, and in relation to that attack, I want to send an important message to my terrorist colleague. And the message is, bomb the Parliament building on 11th February at 9 a.m. Actually, you know what, 9 a.m. is kind of very early for me to wake up, so let's do it at 11 a.m. It has to be convenient for me as well. Now, if I were to send this message as a regular email, then anybody who intercepts the email will obviously know what the message means. And since I'm a terrorist, I don't want anybody to know what the message means. So instead, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this message and I'm going to go ahead and hide it inside an appropriate photograph. So I will use the same photograph that the September 11th attackers, that is the Al-Qaeda, used back in September 2001. That is the smiling photograph of George W. Bush. So if I want to hide that message inside this photograph, all I need to do is, step number 1, start S-Tools. And this is what S-Tools looks like. It's a blank gray colored screen. The next step would be to drag the photograph inside which I wish to hide the data. So the photograph has now become a part of the software. Next step would be to drag the file that I want to hide inside the photograph. So I'm just going to quickly drag the secret file onto this photograph. It will ask me to choose a password, re-enter that password, click on OK, click on OK again, and within a few seconds, if everything goes well, if all of you look at the screen, the software has created an identical copy of the photograph. Can anybody in this audience point out any differences between the two photographs? The human eye cannot differentiate between the two photographs at all. They're exactly identical. The only difference is this picture on the left does not contain any hidden data. So I'll go ahead and close it. While this picture on the right contains the hidden data, I can right click on it, save it with any file name of my choice, attach it to an email, send that email to my terrorist colleague. If anybody intercepts the email, they'll only see the smiling photograph of George W. Bush. But when my terrorist colleague receives this email, all that he or she needs to do is drag this photograph back onto the software, right click on it, click on reveal, enter the same password that was used earlier, re-enter that password, click on OK, and within a few seconds, if all of you look at the screen, the secret file is now ready to be revealed. I'm going to go ahead and save it on the desktop and open it for all of you. And I'm just going to quickly find the secret file. When I open it, it says bomb the Parliament building on 11th February at 11 a.m. As simple as that. What is really scary about this demonstration is the fact that this was the level of sophistication of communication channels for the terrorists way back in 2001. So you can imagine how complex or advanced the communication channels have today become when we are in 2012. Unfortunately, the bad guys are always 1 or 2 steps ahead of the good guys as far as cyber security and cyber terrorism is concerned. Moving on to the next demonstration. How many of you have cell phones with you? How many of your cell phones are Bluetooth enabled? Excellent. Now can I ask all of you to switch on the Bluetooth feature on your cell phone, please? Switch on the Bluetooth feature on your cell phone. Don't worry, I will not break into your cell phone and show all your sensitive messages on the screen. The whole idea is there's a very interesting technique called blue snarfing. Blue snarfing is the art of being able to hack into somebody else's Bluetooth-enabled cell phone. And once you hack into somebody else's Bluetooth-enabled cell phone, you can copy all the data from that cell phone, including their address book, their text messages, emails, any embarrassing photographs or videos that they might have. Absolutely anything else that is saved on their cell phone can be stolen using blue snarfing. There are 2 main steps involved. Step number 1 is scanning, wherein you scan the area around you, looking for any potential victims into which you can maybe break in. So there's a very interesting software called Aruba Network Blue Scanner. It's available as a free download on the internet. And I'm going to go ahead and run Aruba Network Blue Scanner on my computer. And if all of you look at the screen, within a few seconds, there are few cell phones that have been displayed on the screen. Is there an Annie Marie in the audience? Annie Mary in the audience? That's a real person sitting in this audience. Her cell phone has just popped up on the screen, and if I wanted to, I could take it to the next step and actually hack into a cell phone and then copy all the data from a cell phone. But don't worry, I won't be doing that today. But the whole idea is you could be hacking into absolutely anybody's Bluetooth enabled cell phone using this particular technique. So always switch off your Bluetooth when you're not actually using it. I like to do one last demonstration. There's a very interesting technique known as a DOS attack. Imagine that I'm your competitor and I want to bring down your website. And once I bring down your website, none of your customers, none of your clients can any longer connect to your website. So I'm going to try and do a DOS attack. Right now I'm connected to the wireless network of this venue, and I'm going to try and bring down the Wi-Fi network at this venue. And the way I'm going to do this is using a free software called Colasoft Packet Builder. So the way this works is, step number 1, I will open up Wireshark. This will take a minute for me to set up. So just bear with me for a minute and I will be able to give this demonstration to all of you. So I need Wireshark, which is available as a free download. I also need Colasoft Capsa, which is also available as a free download on the internet. I'm just going to open that up on my computer. So what I'll do is I will show you the traffic, the data traffic on this network before the attack and after the attack as well, just to give you the idea of how much damage you can cause to a network. So that is Colasoft Capsa that has just started on my computer. So I'm going to click on Start. Like I said, it takes a minute. I click on Tools, Packet Builder, and I'm going to now flood the network or bombard the network with unlimited amounts of data. So obviously every network has limited bandwidth available to it, and if you send infinite amounts of data to any network, at some point of time the network is going to come crashing down. So I start Wireshark, and I will show you the traffic on the network before the attack. So if all of you look at the screen, this is the data traffic on this Wi-Fi network before the attack. Just keep noticing the first column that represents the number of data packets. So right now we are at 50 data packets. And now I will go ahead and start the attack. I click on Send All, Burst Mode, Infinite Loop, and I click on Start. So now it is flooding the network with unlimited infinite amounts of data, and within a few seconds, if I go back to Wireshark, from 50 data packets we have gone up to 30,000 data packets in less than a minute. So that is the amount of damage you can cause to a network in a matter of a minute. So if you notice, we are already up to 70,000 data packets. So very soon the whole network will come crashing down and nobody on the network would be able to access the internet. Your website will no longer work. None of your customers or clients will any longer be able to connect to your website or to your network. So DOS attacks are extremely dangerous. At the same time, they're extremely easy to execute as well. And if you notice today, I've actually shown you how easy it is to break into computers and cell phones. But let's take it to the next level. What else can you maybe hack into? So there's a very interesting technique known as road sign hacking. I'm sure all of you have seen digital road signs, maybe by the highway or the freeway. And typically digital road signs give you information about traffic conditions ahead. Maybe there's ice on the road, maybe there's some accident that has happened. Now what if you, as a criminal, for some reason, wanted to change the message that is flashing on the digital road sign? So there were a couple of hackers in Austin, Texas, that a few years ago, they thought that it would be a brilliant idea to change a digital road sign message and display the following on the screen. So imagine that you're driving down the highway and suddenly you see this message flashing on the digital road sign which says zombies ahead. You don't know what to do. You don't know whether you need to speed up or slam the brakes or take the exit. Of course, this technique became really popular and hackers across the US started copying the same technique. And imagine that you're stuck in traffic. you're late for work, and you suddenly see this message flashing on the digital road sign. Next one is from Australia. Nobody has ever loved you. So this can really push somebody over the edge. And for some reason, the next time all of you see a digital road sign, if you want to change the message that is flashing on the digital road sign, all you have to do is park your car, walk up to the digital road sign, and below the digital road sign, you're going to see a control panel box. You open the control panel box, and inside the control panel box, there's going to be a remote control. So using the remote control, just follow the instructions on the screen, and you will be able to change the message that is flashing on the digital road sign. The only problem is, it will ask you to enter a password. And obviously, we have no clue what the password is. But the good news is, most of the digital road signs are manufactured in China, and they have a default password, which is DOTS. DOTS is the default password that will allow you to change the message on absolutely most of the digital road signs that you see in different parts of the world. However, a quick warning, if you do this, in most countries, this is highly illegal, and chances are that you will probably get arrested. And if you do get arrested, do not email me or do not email MDRT. We are not responsible for what you do with this information. Not only can road signs be hacked into, even ATM machines can be hacked into. All of us use ATM machines. Typically, ATM machines have two layers of security. The first layer of security is the magnetic strip at the back of your card, which stores important account information. And the second layer of security is the 4-digit PIN number that you type at the ATM machine. So in this slide, I'm going to show you some photographs that show you how easily a criminal can modify an ATM machine and steal all your ATM card information. So if you look at the screen, the top left corner, the first picture, the criminal is attaching an additional reading device. So normally this is where you insert your ATM card, but the criminal has attached an additional reading device. And in the second picture, this is what the modified ATM machine looks like. It looks quite normal. The only difference is, now when you insert your ATM card into this ATM machine, the magnetic strip from the back of your card gets copied. And all your account information has been copied, and the first layer of security has been compromised. In the third picture, the criminal is attaching a small wireless camera to the brochure holder, and the brochure holder is kept at a very strategic location in such a manner that the customer, that is you, cannot see the camera, but the camera can take a video recording or a picture recording of all the keys that are being pressed at the ATM machine. So the second layer of security has been compromised, and the very next day, copies of your ATM card would be sold over the internet in some other part of the world. Another quick example. This is a real-life story from California. There's a new shopping mall that opened up in California, and in one part of that shopping mall, there's an ATM machine that was set up by a leading California-based bank. And customers would walk up to the ATM machine, put in the ATM card, key in the 4-digit PIN number, but for some reason, always an error message would get displayed on the screen. And after a while, the customers started complaining to the bank, and the bank really wanted to help the customers out. But when the bank manager spoke to his team, he was informed that that particular bank had never set up an ATM machine at that location. So that was a fake ATM machine that disappeared after a few weeks, and all the thousands of people who had used that ATM machine, copies of the ATM card were stolen. So next time all of you use an ATM machine, just ask around whether the ATM machine was there yesterday and will be there tomorrow or not. Because you'll feel really foolish when you realize that you yourself walked up to an ATM machine and gave out your private information. So we're pretty much out of time. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to give you simple solutions that all of you can go back home and implement at your home or in your office to improve your security and protect yourself from the criminals. So what are the best security practices? Number one, you got to install a firewall on your computer. Most people think that firewalls are very technical, but in reality they are not. There's a very interesting firewall called Zone Alarm, which I like to recommend to all of you. The next solution is to use an antivirus. An antivirus will protect you against all the latest viruses or security attacks that happen on the internet. You also need to use an anti-spyware. Most people only use an antivirus, while I actually recommend that you also use an anti-spyware. Update your operating system by clicking on Start and typing Windows Update. Your computer will connect to the Microsoft website and download the latest security patches. You got to do that once every 15 days. Choose a strong password for all your accounts. A strong password is not your spouse's name followed by your spouse's birth date. That will be a very easy to guess password, and that can easily be cracked. Avoid using public computers to shop or bank online. So I would avoid using business centers or cyber cafes. Secure your Wi-Fi by enabling WEP, WPA or WPA2 security. WPA2 security is the highest form of security available. Encrypt all the sensitive files or documents that you have using a very interesting software called TrueCrypt. It's available as a free download on the internet. In your company, I would recommend using digital signatures or PGP encryption that really avoids the threat of identity theft that might actually occur. Use an intrusion detection system or an intrusion prevention system. It's just an intelligent version of a firewall. It will protect you against any unknown attacks that might take place. I would recommend Snort. You should also do a security audit of your organization once every 1 to 15 days, depending on what kind of industry you're in. Most importantly, have strong security policies in your company. And finally, I would like to leave all of you with the following thought. Everything that we talked about today is obviously important, but the biggest threat for any company are basically your own employees. There are very few solutions that protect you against your own employees. So when you look at security, think of security from the perspective of how you can protect your organization from your own employees. So on that note, thanks a lot, everybody. I really hope that you enjoyed my presentation. My contact information is up on the screen. It was fantastic interacting with all of you. Thank you.